Welcome back to All Valley Karate.
Okay, we finally did what everybody's been asking us to do. Have you finished season 3? And
it seemed like it was the last one on the block, and it's like I don't binge watch.
I know.
Don't do
we
it.
got to take time with it.
Yeah.
I get emotionally involved enough at the end of this.
As soon as you watch that last episode, that's it.
Yeah.
Now it's a year.
You gotta wait a year and a half.
I would have waited even more, but anyhow, this is not a season 3 review. Mm-hmm. This is not a season 3 episode 10 review. Those are different videos.
Right.
This is in no way in negative remarks to the writers. This is beautiful writing. This is some of the best writing that we've experienced in the past 10 years in Hollywood productions.
I loved it.
All it is a more realistic alternate ending that would have been the same thing, the same cut, the same shots for the most part.
And the same length. So this is our tiny little tweaks we would have made for the end of episode 10 of season 3, just to make it a little bit more realistic. So this brings us right up to when Kreese gets knocked down by Daniel.
Right. And so this was at a plaza that was pretty busy with the corner shop. Late at night even. We know that.
The quick stop. This is where this whole series began, right outside that quick stop.
Exactly.
Where there's people coming in and out. There's that homeless lady who hangs out there. There's a lot of cars in the parking lot.
Somebody got thrown through the glass. The cops would have been called.
Right.
So, I don't know if they're going to address this in the next, but they didn't. It was the next morning. He was making a phone call to we think might be Silver. So all we needed was lights.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just okay. So Kreese gets knocked through. Miguel and Sam walk up, and Daniel's about to finish him. He doesn't, and then hopefully we would see some police lights, and then it cuts.
Yeah, and then he's getting into the cop car. His limbs are already down, right? And so it shows him getting, into a police car.
Right.
And then he still gets a phone call.
Right.
We see him still make that phone call. Okay.
Right. And so, but here's the thing. Daniel thinks it's all done. Johnny thinks it's all done. But what happens to Robbie?
Well, of course, the same thing. This was what I came up with when we were discussing this.
Right.
We go, Daniel and Johnny are going to run in to check on Robbie. Robbie was knocked out. Daniel and Johnny go to run in. Robbie's vanished.
Like he usually does.
This is consistent with script. It's consistent with Robbie's behavior.
Right.
And in multiple times that he's done this.
Right. So Robbie is gone. Kreese is in jail. And so then we flash to, everybody thinking everything's over. Great. Then we flash to the same phone call scene, but instead of in the office of the Cobra Kai dojo, we see it be made his one phone call from jail, and he's still calling Silver and saying, hey, it's been a long time. So we cut there.
Yeah, and so we will not see Robbie on screen, so we lose that time. We lose the time in the confrontation between Johnny and Daniel and Robbie there. And we learn that Cobra Kai is in session because
where has Anthony been this entire episode? We do find out from Amanda that he's at a sleepover. Hopefully he won't get kicked out of this time. Obviously he's causing some mischief.
And so he comes out of the convenient mart and walks by the Cobra Kai dojo that has a repaired
glass,
window.
Going up, and we see
and a ponytailed man of some sort training Robbie and maybe Tori.
So then we see a flash of Anthony's face.
And he's grinning, and he's got that same grin that Johnny has when he's looking
and discovering Cobra Kai for the first time.
As the answer, as an ignored,
spoiled rich kid who needs some attention, needs some discipline, needs some structure in his life.
It lines up perfectly. Now, Anthony's going to become a Cobra Kai of some sort. I've called this since season 1. I said that's Cobra Kai material right there. Right. He's going to be a villain. How's that going to play in? How are they going to write that in? And a lot of this stuff too, you're afraid to put it out there because they're going to change it. Because
I know. No. I did read that they have like 5 or 6 solid scripts already as of like this week. So they've just given a couple
different
more
versions and can change it in. Another thing that we're going to say right now that we're going to throw in is that they might change, but it could be what my prediction for the end of season 4 is. We saw in season 1 you can change your coach, you can change your class mid, because Robbie was independent. Robbie was fighting as independent.
Right, and then he's under Miyagi-Do karate when Daniel steps in.
Yep. So when he comes back to the mat, he's fighting under Miyagi-Do.
Right.
So we know that you can change class. And I think that was done so that Robbie will change class again.
From Cobra Kai to Miyagi-Do. That's just a sneak little peek of what you think.
Or independent, or something where then technically Cobra Kai loses and Cobra Kai gets banished again.
What I said was, having this more realistic ending, I was thinking, well, why didn't they have Kreese go to jail? Because I'm sure it was back and forth in the writer's room, why, what we were going to do about it. We would have lost that great, hopeful bringing together moment, which was my top 3 favorite moments of this entire season of, Daniel and his students and Johnny and his students all coming together. We would have lost that. And Nathan says, why? And I said, well, because there would be no more threat to get them to join forces to be together. They wouldn't be having to prepare for this tournament to be a big deal. They could have
still see that there was going to be a Cobra Kai and going to be a tournament because of Anthony's discovery or somebody's discovery.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like,
Cobra
if we didn't
Kai.
have Anthony, we could have had one of the younger, Miyagi-Do students walking out of there or something, because they shop there, and then discovering it and telling everybody. So we could have gotten there somehow.
The kid that discovered Johnny drinking the night before the tournament.
Exactly.
That same extra.
He shops there.
Yeah, and so he can be passing by. It doesn't have to be Anthony.
Right.
But the discovery of that will bring them together still. Teenagers already joined the schools and we're working on how this is going to happen.
Right.
All these things would have still
And
happened.
they would have said, like, Tori's still out there as a threat, and, Kyler and all these different things. So, like, but I understand why they did it, because it was a more instantaneous, we have to get together, we have to do this, we have to join forces.
Yeah.
So I get it.
But it would have been way more realistic and all the same shots and the same timing.
He would have still made the phone call. We would have still had
Yeah.
Silver be in the picture. All these different things. It's just Silver would have probably been there.
I just feel it's unlikely of a decision, especially in Daniel's character. It's inconsistent with Daniel's character.
Right, to let it go to a tournament.
Yeah, because how adamant he was about even letting Cobra Kai back into the tournament because of the standard of tournament, fairness. And Daniel's in season 1, Daniel's trying to stop that coming in because of his experience with season 3 and the loophole that they had figured out, where they could have just sat there and tortured him all night. Would take away a point, get a point, take away a point because of
Karate
penalty.
Kid 3.
Yeah.
Now the real pain begins, Danny boy.
And so with that happening and Cobra Kai getting banished because of that, we learned in season 1, and Daniel holding to that, I find that inconsistent with his character to say, okay, attempted homicide and invasion of my property and damage to personal property.
And, like, threatening my daughter and beating up all of her friends. And, let's just settle it with a
minorities
trophy.
with a trophy. Yeah, that's just, it's
that
unlikely.
fair.
That's not, it's not a bruised eye Daniel anymore, like, from bullies. This is a real
like
situation.
An adult, business owner.
You saw that though with Miyagi, like Mr. Miyagi in that first scene where he first, has to confront Kreese about, leaving Daniel alone, leave the student alone. And he does like this with Daniel. Remember, he's like, because we're dealing with a real lunatic here now,
Mm-hmm.
He's like, get out. And Mr. Miyagi doesn't turn his back to him.
Right.
There's that, but at the same time,
It's a different situation.
I just feel that it was inconsistent with
And who's
Johnny
to say that they're
going
to trust Kreese after all of this?
Right.
Like, you know what? We're going to take you at your word this time. No.
Johnny wouldn't have, Daniel wouldn't have. So I think it was inconsistent with the characters too. I'm sure this was discussed over a couple tables and lots of coffee for multiple meetings, but what we just came up with,
it would have been the same.
Would have been the same thing, and
everything.
I think a lot of people could agree. What's your ideas? Do you have an idea of how that could have happened just a little bit differently so that it would have been a little bit more realistic and consistent with their characters?
But overall, that was an amazing episode. We're going to review the entire episode and how great it was. But this was just that one little tweak we thought could make a little bit more difference.
You wouldn't even need to see the cop car. All you have to do is see lights.
Yep.
That's
and
it.
that
And then
one
it cuts,
phone call scene.
and them going into an empty dojo. So you see lights, and then Johnny and Daniel running in to check on Robbie. He's gone.
Right.
Fade to scene, cut to scene.
Right.
And then when we see people joining forces the next morning.
Oh, we could even see Robbie. I mean, I know it's going to be like an hour-long episode now, but we could even see Robbie visiting Kreese like he visited, Robbie and Juvie.
The only time we have to see Robbie again after that is in that time period that we have of Robbie telling them to get out. Mm-hmm. All we have to see is him punching a bag with a ponytailed Cobra Kai, sensei of some sort, and that's it.
Yep.
And then now we have our cliffhanger. you know.
But it was great. It was so great, and we can't wait to talk about more of it.
Right, we're gonna have season 3 reviews, season 3 or season 4 hypothesis is coming up. What's your ideas for season 4? We already gave away a couple of ours and how things might happen, but that'll be a whole nother video. And so please subscribe and tell us in the comments below what you think about these edits that could have been made to the script. And we'll talk to you again here on All Valley Karate. You're the best around. Welcome back to All Valley. All right. I thought maybe we just start with like it just cuts to us and it's like I just play it,
Sure.
and then we say, hey, welcome back to.
Is that your Fender Stradivarius?